Good afternoon, folks. My name is Hitzemann, County Court Judge here in Hernando County. You folks are here for your first appearance. The purpose of the first appearance is so that you may be informed of the charges against you. I will determine if probable cause exists for those charges. Probable cause basically means that it's more likely than not that a crime has occurred, and more likely than not that you're the person who committed that crime. Of course, as you stand before me today, I presume that you're innocent of these allegations. That presumption of innocence will stay with you through every stage of the proceedings unless and until the State Attorney's Office is able to prove the allegations against you beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. We'll set your conditions of pretrial release today, that is your bail or your bond. In most cases, you've had a bond set already pursuant to the bond schedule here in the 5th Judicial Circuit, or the warrant which led to your arrest. I will determine if that bond should be raised or lowered or left the same, or that there'll be additional conditions of pretrial release placed upon you. We'll let you know when your next court date will be. If you'd like to have the services of the public defender, I'll gladly appoint the PD to represent you today. You do have a right to have contact with folks on the outside, family, friends, counsel. If you have not had a chance to make that call, please let me know. We'll make sure that that happens. Finally, and most importantly, you're advised that you do have an absolute right to remain silent with regard to the facts which surround your arrest. I encourage you to do that. These proceedings are recorded. In addition, there is an assistant state attorney in the courtroom with me. If you say something that tends to incriminate you, they will use it against you in the prosecution down the road. Now I need each and every one of you there at the jail to please raise your right hands and be sworn. Y'all solemnly swear affirm, tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth? Outstanding. When you hear your name called, please come forward to the podium. Ms. Caratinos, who you got? Mr. Brown? Right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tavon Brown? Hang on one second. Let me pull it out of here. It's here somewhere. I read it. There it is. Tavon, what's your date of birth?
January 11, 2001.
All right. You are here on a couple of things. One is a warrant signed by Judge Barbie. Found probable cause for 2 counts, dating violence and domestic battery by strangulation. And Ms. Caratinos.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Keely Caratinos here on behalf of Tavon Brown. Upon review of the Hernando County Sheriff's Office arrest record, it says a violation of pretrial release, but there is no probable cause affidavit, and that's not in the warrant.
Yeah.
So in this case, I'm just asking for a bond according to the uniform bond schedule to be issued for Mr. Brown on both counts.
Okay. And state any history can't be much, obviously.
No, Judge.
Okay. All right. And Tavon, I have an address for you on Crescent Road in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
The past 3 years.
Okay. And are you still in school?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And Judge, if I may clarify,
Yeah.
because the alleged victim goes to the same school,
Right.
he's going to be enrolling in online school.
Okay, so they won't be at the same...
Correct, Your Honor.
My next question, obviously. Okay. Date on the warrant. 6, okay. Tavon, I'm going to set your bond at $500 on each count. That's a total of $1,000. Condition of the bond is you'll have no contact with Ms. Thomas. No contact means no contact of any kind. You don't call, you don't write, you don't email, you don't text message, you don't contact her through any social media. Don't go where she lives, don't go where she works, don't go where she goes to school. Don't have any contact of any kind, any way that you might imagine having contact with her. I forbid you to do that. If you have contact and we find out about it, your bond can be revoked and it can be held without bond until the charges are resolved. It means no contact even if she wants the contact, so if you answer your phone and hear her voice, you should hang up. If you're out and about and see her, you should turn around and run the other way. You need to understand that she cannot drop the charges against you. That's not a decision she gets to make. She might go to the state attorney's office and ask them to drop the charges, but that decision belongs solely to the assistant state attorney handling your case. So unless the judge in your case or the assistant state attorney or your lawyer tell you that the charges are dropped, you should assume they are not dropped and you should not have contact. I'm going to have you back in court on the 2nd of April, and once you get out, you should do anything and everything that your lawyer tells you to do, all right?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
And April 2nd at what time, Your Honor?
It'll be 9 a.m., I think.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yep.
I have nothing left for the report. May I be excused?
Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Judge, the state would just ask that he doesn't return to that school.
I did that.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Contact where she goes to school.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
All right. Vanessa Compton. Morning, Miss Compton. What's your date of birth?
6/13/84.
Miss Compton, you are here on a warrant that I signed. I found probable cause for a violation of probation. The folks at probation are recommending 30 days in the county jail. If you wanted to accept that today, you could. If you'd rather have a chance to speak to an attorney first, of course you can do that. What do you think you'd like to do?
Permission to speak, Your Honor?
Sure, go ahead.
I just did 11 months in Pasco on a hold
There you
charge as well.
Okay, when did you start? When did you start that time?
April 17th of last year. And I'm waiting for a
Oh, okay. Oh, this is old. Yeah, okay. Yeah, can somebody at the jail confirm to me that Vanessa has spent the last year in the Pasco County Jail?
One second, Your Honor.
I'll wait patiently.
Yes, Your Honor, it appears that she was arrested in Pasco on April 18th of last year.
Okay, and just came here yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's correct.
Awesome. Vanessa, you want to admit a violation? I'll give you a credit time served, and you'll be done with this case.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. You understand by entering an admission, you give up the right to have a trial to the court, the right to confront the witnesses against you, the right to have a lawyer represent you, but you are willing to give up those rights so we can resolve this case today.
Yes, sir.
Case number 15MM1437, do you admit that you violated your probation?
Yes, sir.
I'll accept the admission, find it's freely and voluntarily made, revoke and terminate that probation unsuccessfully, adjudicate you guilty of the underlying charge if we didn't do that before, sentence you to 30 days in the county jail, credit 30 days served. It'll be a $100 cost of prosecution. I will not order cross-incarceration because you did all your time in Pasco. That takes care of it, Vanessa. If there's nothing else keeping you in the jail, you'll be released today, all right?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Awesome. Thank you. Connie Hendel. Afternoon, Connie. What's your date of birth?
March 23rd, 1964.
Connie, you're here on 2 counts. Warrant actually signed by Judge Heineman. He found probable cause for 2 counts. Burglary of a conveyance while armed and grand theft of a motor vehicle. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
I'd like to represent myself.
Okay. Just so you know, Connie, with these 2 charges, you could go to prison for decades. Are you sure you want to represent yourself?
No.
Okay. You want the public defender?
Change my mind.
I'm persuasive that way. So you want the public defender?
Yes.
I'll point the PD. State.
Showing adjudication of guilt in 2016 for retail theft, which was jail was imposed. A guilty for trespass on the property 2009. And the history is out of Pinellas County.
Okay.
No other history, Your Honor.
All right. Connie, I have an address for you on Havelock Drive in Land O'Lakes. Is that where you live?
Nope, don't live in Florida anymore.
Where do you live?
I'm with my mother up in New York State.
What's the address in New York State? It's a big state.
I think it's 628 Arcade, New York, 14009.
Okay. You have a job up there?
No, but I will have pretty soon.
Okay.
I'm bored to death.
Okay. All right. On the burglary, I'll set your bond at $10,000. On the grand theft auto at $2,000, that's a total of $12,000. These charges are coming back on the 2nd of April. If you bond out, you should contact the public defender right away. If you can't bond out, they're going to come see you at the jail before you go to court, all right?
All right.
Thank you. Alexandria Mason. Afternoon, Miss Mason. What's your date of birth?
5582.
Miss Mason, you're here on a probable cause arrest for violation of community control. There is probable cause for the VOCC. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the public defender. Bond, of course, will be no bond. I'm going to change your date to the 12th of April at 8:30 so you get back in front of Judge Toner. The public defender will come see you before you go to court, all right?
Okay.
Thank you. Jessica Vasquez Galena. Afternoon, Jessica. What's your date of birth?
9/12/88.
Jessica, you're here on a violation of probation warrant that was signed by Judge Merritt. He found probable cause for the VOP. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
I have a private attorney that handled that case, but I haven't had the chance to speak to him here. So conditionally, could I have the public defender
You bet.
appointed?
I will appoint the PD. If you get a hold of your private lawyer, they'll let the PD know that they're on the job. Obviously, it's going to stay no bond. I'll have you back in court on the 2nd of April. If we don't hear that your private lawyer's on the case, the PD will come see you before then, okay?
May I have permission to speak, Your Honor?
Sure, go ahead.
The charge in Pasco was a traffic, and it was dropped and abandoned. I do own my own business, and I work at home. My probation officer in Pasco was very compliant with her, and she told me to ask to resolve it today on her recommendation that Miss Ingram would be here.
All right, well, Miss Ingram's not here, and unfortunately for you, I'm just a hard-working county court judge, and I can't handle important felony cases like this. So you really have to wait until your lawyer gets involved, until you get back in front of Judge Merritt, okay?
Can I request a sooner court date, Your Honor?
You probably are at the earliest one we have on the 2nd. I don't know, is there anything else, Bridget? Because we're already halfway through March. Well, look. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's because there's a trial week, and then this is the other week, and that's it.
He has the 19th next week, March 19th.
I'll give it a shot. All right. I don't know if they'll deal with you this day, Jessica, but I'll move you up to 19 March, okay?
Thank you so much.
Good luck. Jonathan Burke. Afternoon, Mr. Burke. What's your date of birth?
1/16/92.
Say, this is a Pasco warrant, right? I think that's what it is. Anybody?
What it looks like.
Yeah, that's what it says in the... Joe, can you confirm that Mr. Burke's warrant is out of Pasco?
That's correct.
Okay. So, Jonathan, the warrant is out of Pasco. Judge down there found probable cause for a petty theft. Set your bond at $5,000. I can't change that. We'll let pass. If you can post that bond, you can get out of jail here, go down to Newport Richie, find out when they want you in court. If you can't post it, I'll give them 5 days to come get you. It doesn't take 5 days with Pasco, but if for some strange reason you're still here in 5 days, they'll bring you back to see me, and I'll find out what the holdup is, all right?
I'm just curious what the warrant's for, because
For theft.
I had a notice to appear in Pasco. They didn't, no court date, nothing yet.
Okay, well, now you have a warrant for a theft.
For what, though? That's what I'm saying.
It's a felony theft. Brother, if you don't know, I sure as heck don't know. This is a Pasco warrant. So all I'm telling you is we got a warrant. You got to go there to figure it out, all right?
Yes.
Okay. John Canuli? Afternoon, Mr. Canuli. What's your date of birth?
1779.
Mr. Canoa, you're here on a warrant signed by Judge Merritt. He found probable cause for a violation of probation. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. Bond on that warrant is no bond. I'm not going to change that. I'll have you back to see Judge Merritt on the 2nd of April. Public defender will come see you before then, okay?
Okay.
Very good. Gary Cooper. Afternoon again, Gary. Date of birth?
6/29/60.
All right. Obviously, now there's been a probable cause arrest for that VOP, like we talked about yesterday. As to that charge, you're going to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. This one's coming back on the 2nd of April, Gary. This one now, of course, is at no bond. PD is going to come see about both of your cases before your court dates, okay? Kyle Evans. Afternoon, Kyle. What's your date of birth?
2/12/93.
Kyle, the charge is driving under the influence. There's probable cause for that charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State.
Marijuana adjudication in 2014 out of Hernando County. Adjudication for flee or elude. Adjudication of guilt in 2014. And a trespass adjudication of guilt in 2014.
All right, Kyle, I have an address for you on Broad Street in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yeah.
How long have you been there?
Almost a year.
Do you have a job these days?
I do my own thing.
What does that mean?
I do landscaping.
Okay. I'll set your bond at $500. I'll have you back on the 3rd of April. They may have told you the 17th. The right day is the 3rd. If you get out, contact the public defender right away, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Matthew Heater. Afternoon, Matthew. What's your date of birth?
9/14/92.
Matthew, you're here on a charge of driving on a suspended license. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State.
Adjudication of guilt in 2018 for loitering and prowling, where the Hernando jail sentence was imposed. Possession of paraphernalia, 2018 adjudication of guilt, as well as an actual constructive possession of synthetic. Adjudication of guilt in 2018 out of Hernando. Adjudication of guilt in 2013 for Alter Bank Bill Note Check Draft. And that was also out of Hernando County.
Matthew, I have an address for you on Morning High Drive in Lutz. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
Since I've been out of jail.
Okay, how long is that?
5 months.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
No, sir.
Okay. Set your bond at $500. I'll have you back in court on the 3rd of April. Very important that you contact the public defender if you get out, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Shaquille Lawson. Afternoon, Shaquille. What's your date of birth?
May 14/1993.
Shaquille, I got possession of methamphetamine, possession of a controlled substance, looks like hydromorphone, and possession of drug paraphernalia. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
At the point in time, I would like to retain a public defender.
All right, I'll appoint the public defender. State, what can you tell me?
Possession of paraphernalia, adjudication of guilt in 2016, where a jail sentence was imposed. Possession of paraphernalia, 2016, adjudication of guilt. Criminal mischief, adjudication of guilt in 2017. Uh, 2013, a burglary, adjudication of guilt, where it looks like there was other charges with it. Battery, adjudication withheld, 2007, and no other history.
And Mr. Lawson, I have an address for you on St. Andrews Boulevard in Weekiwachi. Is that where you live?
No, sir. I currently moved.
Where do you live now?
5023 Chambers Court, Spring Hill, Florida.
How long have you been there?
8 months.
You have a job these days?
2 jobs.
What do you do?
I work at Popeye's Chicken and Rado's Lawn Service.
I'm going to set your bonds on the meth and the controlled substance at $4,000 each, on the paraphernalia at $2,000. That's a total of $10,000. Have you back in court on these on the 2nd of April, and my understanding is you'll be back in front of Judge Rupi on your misdemeanors on Friday. All right?
Yes.
Thank you. Dana McGee. Afternoon, sir. Date of birth?
October 20th, 1984.
Dana, you're hearing a warrant signed by Judge Rupi. She found probable cause for a VOP. I have heard from your attorney who has asked me to have you come back tomorrow at 1 o'clock because he or she will be here then. So I assume you're aware of that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So we'll put you down for private counsel. The bond is still no bond, but then I'll have you back at first appearance tomorrow, which is March 14th, and we'll see if your lawyer's here, okay?
Christian, speak real quick.
Sure, go ahead.
With the no bond, Your Honor, I am a business owner and also general manager of a hops farm out here in Brooksville, and it's dire need for me to go back to work, if possible, at any time, any bond. Honestly, I took the warrant because of my classes, which I am enrolled in. But
okay, the warrant has a new law offense in Pasco County that you got a felony driving on suspended license case in Pasco.
That was taken care of and adjudicated to a misdemeanor and fined $500.
Okay, that's awesome. The answer here is, just to save some time, the only way for you to resolve this case in front of me today is to do 11 months in the county jail, which is what probation is recommending. I suggest you spend one more night in jail and see if your lawyer can do something better for you tomorrow at 1 p.m., okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Brian Maxwell. Afternoon, Mr. Maxwell. What's your date of birth?
2/22/97.
Maxwell, I have several warrants for you. The first one was signed by Judge Heinemann. He found probable cause for one count of leaving the scene of an accident. Then I have a warrant signed by Judge Merritt. He found probable cause for a VOP. And then finally, one signed by Judge Heinemann. And in that one, he found probable cause for a grand theft auto. As to those charges, you're going to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the public defender. On the first case, which is leaving the scene, I'll leave the bond at the $500. That's coming back April 3rd. On the VOP, of course, the bond is no bond. That is coming back April 2nd. And then finally, on the grand theft auto, the bond is $2,000. And that is coming back also on April 2nd. Folks from the public defender's office will come see you before your court dates, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Stephen Richards. After Mr. Richards, what's your date of birth?
12/06/81.
Mr. Richards, you're here on a writ to bodily attachment out of Citrus County. That means a child support hearing officer and a judge up there determined that you owe some child support. They set a cash purge of $1,177. If you could pay that, you could get out of jail here. If you can't pay it, Citrus will have 5 days to come pick you up. When you got to Citrus, the judge that would see you there would have an opportunity to lower that cash purge. But there's nothing that I can do for you today. It's either pay that whole number or get transported up to Citrus, okay?
Sure.
Thank you. Stephen Shaw. Afternoon, Mr. Shaw, date of birth?
10/26/69.
Good, Mr. Shaw. You're here on a warrant signed by Judge Merritt. He found probable cause for 5 counts: trafficking in hydromophone, sale of a controlled substance, possession of a place for trafficking, unlawful use of a two-way communication device, and possession of drug paraphernalia. As to those charges, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State what can you tell me?
He went for an obstruction without violence, adjudication of guilt, 2016, where a probation sentence was imposed on Pasco County. 2007, adjudication of guilt, paraphernalia. Grand theft, 2006, adjudication of guilt, and that was also on Pasco County.
And
Permission to sue?
hang on a second, we'll get there. Mr. Shaw, I have you an address on Avon Wood Court in Lutz. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
15 years.
All right. And you have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I'm a construction supervisor.
Okay. What do you want to tell me?
My wife is currently in stage 4 cancer and has a autoimmune disease of sarcoidosis. And I have a 6 and an 8-year-old. And she's currently being treated at Moffitt under the care of Dr. Hahn. And I'm just seeing if there's any kind of bond reduction or anything you could do for me.
Yeah, I'll reduce it a little. Hang on one second.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. As to the trafficking, I'll set the bond at $10,000. As to the controlled substance, the sale of controlled substance, the keeping of a place. Hang on a second. And the unlawful use. All three of those I'll set at 2, and I'll set the paraphernalia at 1. That's going to be a total of $17,000. Those are all coming back April 2nd. If you get out, make sure you contact the PD right away, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chadley Smith.
Yes, Your Honor.
Afternoon, Mr. Smith. What's your date of birth?
1683.
All right, Chadley, you're here on 2 warrants, both signed by Judge Merritt. In each case, he found probable cause for a VOP. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
I currently had Barbara Jo Bell as my case in the public defender's office, sir.
Okay. Well, I'll appoint the PD's office, and if this is her docket, that's who you'll get, okay?
Excuse me, I have permission to speak?
Sure, go ahead.
Is there an offer from the state?
Not from me today, because I can't handle the circuit court case. All I can do is send you to see Judge Merritt.
Okay.
So I'll tell you it's no bond on both. I appointed the PD on both, and they're both coming back April 2nd. And you'll see the PD, and that may be Miss Bell, before you go to court again, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Joshua Willoa. Afternoon, Josh. What's your date of birth?
2/28/86.
Joshua, first thing we have is a warrant that I signed if found probable cause for a violation of probation. And then we have another warrant that I signed where I found probable cause for a battery being domestic in nature. As to those charges, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. Bond on the VOP, of course, is going to be no bond. I'll have that one back on April 3rd. The bond on the battery. What kind of history do you have, Steve?
Sorry, Your Honor. The adjudication of guilt for that criminal mischief, and a battery adjudication withheld in 2016 out of Citrus County. A draft aggravated battery person uses a deadly weapon in 2012 out of Citrus County. Another dropped battery in 2011. And no other history, Your Honor.
Okay. On the battery, I'll set the bond at $2,000 with the condition that you have no contact with the alleged victim. That's also coming back on the 3rd of April. Public defender will come see you at the jail before you go to court again, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. That should be it, right, Jill?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, awesome.